Give it up for Mr. Joshua Burnside.
Well, the professor sadly scratched himself and finished the rest of his cold coffee. Felt someone walking over his grave. He said, I've got to get out of this drafty old place. Maybe somewhere a black hole met another. Clasped hands together, span away from each other. He said, God, what have I done? And was it all predetermined? All meant to be if you give me more time. I swear I'll believe, give up all of that quantum shit. Spend all my days spreading the good word, you're singing your praise. Oh, yes, sir, that's right. Sing glory, hallelujah. Glory, hallelujah. Well, the wind made little hurricanes with the debris in the car park of the driving range. As we had another sip, another toke. Counselor says we're on a slippery slope. Well, last night I dreamed we were running for our lives from robots in the jungle, helicopters in the sky. Oh, the ground open up and I couldn't save her. I couldn't save her. I couldn't save her again. No, 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 sir, not this time. Sing glory, hallelujah. Sing glory, hallelujah. Sing glory, hallelujah. Oh God, what have you done? And was it all predetermined? All meant to be if you give us her back? Well, I still won't believe, but I might give up drinking so much. Well, we'll just have to wait and see. Sing glory, hallelujah. Oh, sing glory, hallelujah. Oh, sing glory, hallelujah.
Every night of the Cabaret of Dangerous Ideas, we have to have a dangerous idea. So we're going to have a dangerous idea with Helen and myself. Helen, I think some of you saw The Guide to Making Love, which is a documentary to help you to create desire and help you work out how do we desire. Helen.
Probably not very helpful, more complicating than enlightening, probably.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes, complicating our desire. Yes. Helen was an academic and taught in Eton College, then gave all of that up, don't like the system, rejected everything, and then set up a production company and has become a writer, director, producer. Yes, so contradiction, the dangerous idea. I want to tell you a parable very quickly. This is from the book that I'm writing, and this is how I think I want to finish the book. And it's a parable that I heard, 15 years ago, but I never liked it because I don't think I understood it. And it's a story of a mystic, this evangelical and this fundamentalist, and they all die on the same day, and they all go up to heaven. And as we know, you have to get an interview with Jesus before you get into heaven. So they all have to go to the waiting room, and they're all waiting there. St. Paul comes out, says, okay, to the mystic, you first. So goes into the meeting room, little signs turn round. About half an hour passes, the mystic comes out, he's smiling. He says, I knew I was wrong, and then walks on into heaven. Then it's the evangelical pastor's turn. He gets up, walks into the room, little signs turn round, and he's in there for about an hour, and he comes out, he's distraught. He's like, how could I have been so wrong? And he walks into heaven. And then it's the fundamentalist turn. So fundamentalist dusts himself down, got his Bible under his arm, goes in, signs turned round. He's in there for about 3 hours, and eventually the door flies open and Jesus comes out and says, how can I have been so wrong? Now, the thing about that story is we all are supposed to identify with the mystic, right? That's what we're supposed to identify with. We often think that our worldview is right, and we have to not be like the evangelical pastor, because truth will always humble us. Truth will always humble us. The older you get, the less you know. So we become the mystic. We identify with the mystic. And the fundamentalist is the idiot, right? The fundamentalist is the one who we shouldn't be. But I think the trick of the parable is that the fundamentalist is exactly who we should be. That the fundamentalist in this parable is the one who exposes that the absolute has a knowing within itself, right? That God or the absolute or reality itself has a quantum dimension, is divided. And now, mind you, the fundamentalist probably didn't want to see that, and he was probably more traumatized by that event of realizing that the truth itself is divided. So this is a narrative, this is a story about how contradiction is woven into the very nature of reality itself. This, I think, is a dangerous idea.
Okay, so, I mean, contradiction, right? So you're saying that the Christian, only really the Christian has the capacity to be the atheist, right?
Yeah, there's that, yes, that view, we have to unpack what that means. But
Well, it also seems like you're critiquing the Stoic position in a way as well.
Yes.
Because, I mean, there is a sort of danger in acknowledging that not only is reality divided, I mean, lots of philosophers tell us this, when we, anything we really invest in, we can really see that its own contradiction comes back to bite it at a certain point. But really, the area where I think an incapacity to tolerate contradiction, even though contradiction is what really generates it in the first place, that we all try to avoid, even if we're sort of, we're atheists or we're, progressive, or we really do critique capitalism, or we've really got a good insight with philosophers, is contradiction at the level of our own desire. Because this is something that's operating beyond logic, beyond what we see in material reality. Obviously, we see symptoms of our unconscious in material reality, but it's something that is really difficult for us to get a hold of. And so I really like your idea of like the fundamentalist who really invests in something can be confronted, can confront others. I mean, I often talk, I have a podcast where we talk about films every week, and often we look at society through the lens of its cultural products, so mostly films, but other things. But often the best thing to talk about is a really shit film, a really ideological film, something that hasn't acknowledged the contradiction within itself because it's so obvious and it's so juicy to talk about. Yeah. So, I mean, potentially that's what the fundamentalist is. So it's doing a real lesson, in the contradiction has to go somewhere, and it's so frustratingly unrecognized.
Yeah, and a concrete example of this is most of you, right? You guys are the fundamentalists, because most of you probably went as far as you could go within your religious tradition. I bet you're the idiots who destroyed your record collections. You're the idiots who went off to other countries and to evangelize. You're the idiots who went all the way, right? Only to discover that when you go all the way, it doesn't hold. It collapses within itself. And then, so for me, if the parable continued on, the fundamentalist becomes an hysteric. So the fundamentalist is the one who pushes, goes all the way, and everything collapses. And eventually they embrace the collapse itself, and they become hysterical, which means they embrace their own questioning. The hysteric is the one who says, who am I? What am I? Why am I here? The fundamentalist collapses into someone who can embrace non-pathologically their hysteria.
You know, that certainly implies to me, I didn't grow up religious in any way. I mean, lots of people in England are not religious at all. You know, there's lots of symbolic religion like Church of England schools, but nobody believes in the hymns they're talking about or thinks about God in any way. But I really was invested in the system. Yeah. And by dint of really going for it, the abject emptiness of the system revealed itself to me. But the answer is, unfortunately, there's no easy solution in avoiding the system. You still have to interact with people, earn money, exist. But there are healthier ways potentially to interact with the systems that be. But it is, you know, it's a really good technique to go for something, go hard or go home, because you will never really get the true contradiction at the heart of reality unless you really invest in something.
Yeah. I mean, this is the Hegelian story in a nutshell, right? Nothingness goes so hard that it becomes being, and being goes so hard into existence that being becomes life, and life through its contradiction eventually becomes conscious, and consciousness keeps going until it becomes self-conscious, and self-consciousness keeps going until it collapses in its contradiction into reason, and reason keeps going until it collapses into the acknowledgement that contradiction is everywhere. So basically you could say that you go, this is why I like the fundamentalist in this story, and maybe I'll never write this book, but this is the closing chapter, is this person who goes all the way, keeps going all the way, and every contradiction, every time they hit a contradiction, they go into it. And that's by the way, the movement from, in a sense, the contradiction of slavery, right? Slavery doesn't work as a system, eventually creates too much social unrest, so slavery becomes feudalism. Feudalism eventually creates so much social unrest that it becomes capitalism. And
we don't know where it's going, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know we don't. But yeah, as in it's either death or or the next thing. But yeah.
Communism is capitalism's dream. I have to say.
Yeah.
That's a whole other story. But to go back to contradiction at the level of self-consciousness, and I think this is something that like even all us reasonable folks have a real difficulty dealing with, because it is something that is, you know, pre-conscious. This is something that is something that we're marked with before we become really, you know, adult thinking beings. And a lot of what we desire is formed through childish logic, the childish logic of, you know, pre-language or entering into language. And we're marked with it. We don't choose it. We don't choose where we're born. We don't choose the conditions we're born into. And I know the cabaret is going to be sort of about the absurd. And there is something absurd, not only in the structure of our desire, like if we think about our fantasies, our sexual fantasies, what we want out of life, you know, we listen to some like music. I don't know if you guys have watched Selling Sunset, probably not, maybe some people do, but the soundtrack of that show is hilarious. It's like the most capitalistic girl boss. I get off the stage, give me the mic, I'm the best person, yeah. But often our pop music speaks to this, and sometimes it's kind of nice, we get a bit of a release, you know, we can fulfill our little fantasies in some way, but it's ridiculous. So fantasies are ridiculous just in terms of their form, but also in terms of their structure. Fantasy ends nowhere. It ends in contradiction. But we're held hostage by a belief that there is a totality in fantasy, in desire. Unfortunately, because material reality does not reflect this totality, it cannot reflect it because it is born of contradiction. We often have to sustain this utopian fantasy. The idea of fantasy keeps us going, like life would be shit without fantasy. So this is not a stoic thing of like we're all beyond fantasy and we just meditate. We have, fantasy is something that makes life worth living. But unfortunately, it ends in, there is no end to desire. If we get what we want, we'll realize that it doesn't fulfill us. And if we don't get what we want, we're depressed because we're distant from it. So to sustain the fantasy, often we have to either shoot ourselves in the foot. So to prevent ourselves from getting what we want. This is self-sabotage, that often people go to psychoanalysis for, but actually self-sabotage is kind of useful to us because we want to sustain our desire. Or we create enemies in whose shadow exists the utopia. We know that we would have this utopian reality, we get exactly what we want if it weren't for this pesky person in the way. So in our culturally divided times, perhaps the answer is not consciousness raising or dictating what we should do, this, that, and the other, but really to address contradiction at the level of fantasy to get us beyond this enemy-making construct.
I'll give one example of maybe what this means to make it concrete, and then we'll give the stage to the absurd, because this is all about the absurd. And what does Cabaret do? It celebrates the absurd. Example of two friends of mine who are going out, been married for a long time, and he's telling me, I'm always in the doghouse. She always says I've done something wrong. I'm always wrong. I've always done. And admittedly, he's a bit of a dick sometimes, so he has done that. But he says, I'm always in the doghouse. I'm always having to apologise. I've just had enough. And as we were talking, it became clear to him, as we were chatting, that how they sustain their desire is she likes to be pursued. She enjoys being pursued, and he enjoys pursuing, right? That's the nature of their desire. That's their enjoyment. They don't have to justify any of it. She likes being pursued. He likes pursuing. And what they're operating with is she's putting him in the doghouse, not because she's really angry with him, but because she's sustaining the fantasy. By making him feel he's bad, he has to work in order to win her over, which both of them like, both of them enjoy. That's their desires. Now, what they weren't realizing and what they know is that their fantasy structure is operating in this unhealthy way because they're not kind of aware of it. But
they're not enjoying themselves. They're wasting it.
Yes, they're not enjoying their enjoyment. Yes, there's an enjoyment that they're not enjoying. And you go like, hold on, enjoy this. There's a certain sense in which your desire is not to get beyond this weird, she likes to be chased and you like to chase. No, you just have to find new ways to sustain that contradiction, float around it, and maybe find healthier ways to do it. That's how you desire, that's how you desire. All right, let's move on, and thank you.
Give me a J. Give me an O. O. Give me an E. Give me an L. L. It's Joel M.
Thank you. All right, let's have some fun. Are you ready to see the mind reading trick now, folks? Yeah, exciting. We'll try this with everybody. So, do you know what? Numbers are cool, it's fun, but I like to think of things a bit more specific. So let's go for anything at all that you could think of. Everybody take out your phones. Doesn't matter if you you'll wish that you had played along had you done this. And everyone make your way to the internet, so you can do a Google search for me. Oh, question for the audience, and shout out if you know the answer, you get a bonus point that I'll throw your direction. Do you know which website on the internet has the biggest word count? Does anyone know? Oh, bingo, who said that? That's one bonus point for you, sir. I like how you went to catch it. Oh, sorry. That was my fault. Listen, everyone make your way to Wikipedia for me. Make your way to Wikipedia. Good, I need someone who wants to help me. Does anybody want to come up on stage and give me a hand? If you have internet, John Michael? Oh, John Michael. John Michael, would you like, give it up for him, good man. John Michael, how you doing? Give him a hand, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Stand on this side for me, would you, buddy? Good man. And it is John Michael.
John Michael.
John Michael, I'm
yes,
Joel.
sir.
Okay, John Michael, you have Wikipedia on your phone?
I do.
I'm going to open it up. I'm going to clear everything in my calculator from a moment ago, and I am going to bring up my calculator and hit clear. Okay, here is the idea, folks. There are a huge amount of articles on Wikipedia. Every single one of you here is going to search for something in a second. Just don't do it yet, because there are a couple of rules. Would you search on the internet, how many articles are there on Wikipedia? Would you do that for me?
Yes.
And then pass me your phone once you've done it. Because some people think when they go home, but what is there, like a couple 100,000? There's loads. And I don't want you thinking when you go home, everybody probably just thinks of the same thing. So we're going to dispel that right now. Let's have a little look. You make sure I don't make this up. We'll go for whatever's top. John Michael, if that is your real name. Come here, John Michael, for a second.
Yes.
So we're saying there are approximately 1,199 words per article. Multiply that by the amount of articles, which is 6,503,739. Quick math gives us about 7.7 billion words on that website. And you are going to think of one of them, as well as everybody else in the audience. So you could do the featured article, but I could have just memorized that. So I will pop you into the search bar.
Okay.
Now, this is important.
Okay.
I have spies in the corner. I don't really, but I could have, for all you know. I'm going to lock my phone for the second. I'm going to have you think of something. Everybody do this too. Think of anything you like. It could be a celebrity, a place, a food, anything at all, but something you think there would be an article about. Don't go for anything completely obscure that I wouldn't know what it is. Do you have something? And it's okay if you need to take some time. Just you take a second. Can we all do this now? Everybody search for something, and when you've done it, take your phone, hold it to your chest so I can't see. And I'm going to actually come over here, Joe Michael, so that you know I don't peek. And actually, when you've done it, John, if you would let me know by saying yes, Joel.
Yes, Jojo.
Good. And if you, have we all got something on our phones? Good. Now make sure if I turn around, I won't see his phone screen. No. We're good. I can look. Good. John, hold your phone like this. And you're going to scroll down to a random point, kind of go down like this and scroll. And again, you guys do this too. Just scroll to a random point on your phone and then stop somewhere, John. You have it? Everyone do the same. And now think of a nice, big, long, interesting word in that article. Now, I will say, if you all think of the word the and he, but this is not that interesting. So try and go for a nice, big word. 7, 8 letters. If you can get one, John, that would be great. And again, when you have one, just say yes, Joel. I hear a couple of yes, Joel.
Yes, Joel.
Good. Okay, when you're happy with that and you have it locked in your head, would you delete the tab? So even if I was to get your phone now, I couldn't see. So delete the tab.
This is any word. Any word.
Not as long as it's a nice big. If it's a short one, it will work. It's just not as interesting. Long word. Got one?
Yes.
Good. Lock your phone and pop that in your pocket. Okay, I'm going to kind of get a survey from the audience here to see if the different things, because again, the most common thing I get when I go and speak to you guys after the show is, is it one of those things where when somebody's up the front, they all think of the same thing? Like if I say, do you think of a number between 1 and 100? Most people say 37. Think of a color, most people say blue. But it doesn't work this way. Did you get a word? You did. What word did you think of?
Supernatural.
Supernatural. Did you think of that word?
No.
That would have been good though. Can you imagine one night that will match and it's going to be... So I'm doing this 17 years, it hasn't happened. What about yourself?
Immortality.
God, deep group tonight. Immortality, that's good. Immortality? No. Adam, did you do one?
Yeah, I did.
What did you go for?
Adventures.
Adventures. Okay, let me just try one. That's a good one. What about yourself, sir? Did you think of one? Don't tell me it. Did you think of one?
She's got my phone.
Oh, God, you're nice and done. Do you have a word?
Yeah, but I forgot
It
it.
is okay. It's okay. It's a magic trick. We can pick another one. What about you? What about yourself? Did you get one? What word?
Observation.
Observation, was that the word? None of them. The reason I do this is because honestly, you will go home and you'll think, that's how it works. And I want you knowing that if you were up on the stage and you were in John Michael's position, you might have thought of something different. Think of your word for me. And this is the big finale, so if this works, I get all your applause out at once because I'm going to have to walk down and my ego be deflated and it's going to be sad. Okay, John Michael, look at me. Can you think of the first letter for me?
Yes.
And can you imagine the word up here in front if you actually look at me? Look at me?
Yes.
Good. All right, so think of the first. Make this a bit easier for me. Can you imagine them in bold capital letters?
Yeah.
Okay, so I know roughly how long the word is. That's good. Can you make this a bit more challenging? Just relax your hands by your side for me. Deep breath in. Good, and out. Very nice. Okay, think of the first letter. A, B, C, D, E. There's not an E in there, is there?
There is.
Yeah, but it's not the first letter though. No. Okay, somewhere towards the beginning.
Yes.
Second letter.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, think of the letter somewhere towards the middle. M. Mm-hmm. Okay, stay where you are for a second. I'm going to write this down so I have to commit to it. I think I'll at least get close. Oh, God. It's okay. It's okay. I'm here. Don't panic.
I like looking at you.
I like looking at you too. The first person to say that on a show ever. Would you hold this?
Yeah. Okay,
this will be close. If it's not bang on, I'll take I have 70% hit rate on these, and if it does hit, I just want to say thank you very much for listening so intently and watching. It's been a real joy to perform for you, so thank you, and please remember how sincere I sounded in case this is wrong. But, John Michael, what was the word you thought of?
Recommended.
Is that how you would spell it? Recommended, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. John Michael, everyone! John. Just to get that high attention, stay where you are. Would you stand up one last time? Because I'm on a roll with this, I'll try and get the article too. Do you want to? Should we go for that? Yeah. Think of this. I should be able to get this one easier, but I'm going to change it up. So we'll play a game of 20 questions, right?
Okay.
20 questions. The kind of trick here is you can choose whether to tell the truth or lie to me. So if you like, you can just make shit up, and that's going to throw me off. But I should be able to tell when you're lying. Does that make sense?
So I can do both.
You can do whatever you like. It's your show.
Yeah.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you some questions. It is the show. I can tell, mind reader. Okay. Okay, I'm going to just. Oh God, I have it. Start with the pink hair. What's your name?
Bailey.
Be honest. Yes or no? Do you have any idea what I've written on this piece of paper?
I know it was kind of short-ish.
You're saying no?
No.
He's an absolute genius. He's got it. Thank you. No, for real. Look at me. Here are your questions. You ready?
Yeah.
Is this a person?
No.
Ooh, no. Interesting. Okay, is this a place?
No.
Is this a person?
No.
Is this a man?
No.
Is this a man?
No.
Is this an actor?
No.
Is this a very famous actor?
No.
Is it the type of celebrity that would have suited the first trick with JJ?
No.
Is this man still alive?
It's not a man.
Does his name start with the letter J?
No.
Okay, shut your eyes for just a second. I'm gonna guess who this is. Okay. Yes. Thank you, Alan. This is where we begin to be honest. Be honest. Was this a person?
No.
Oh no, eyes open, look at me.
Oh.
Sincerely this time, because this is not the actual ending to the show. So hand on heart.
Hand on heart.
Good man. I think whoever was listening on the live stream, we're very sorry. I just punched you in the ears there.
Yeah.
What was this? A person say yes.
Yes.
Yes?
No. No.
Really?
No.
Alright, give me a
Not a person.
really?
Not a person.
I'm gonna
swear on my
You
life.
promise?
Swear on my life.
I'll change my answer.
Okay.
Okay. No, not like a. Oh, I know. Sorry, not like a person here, like a celebrity, like an actor.
person in general. Wrong category.
But he's not alive anymore. So like not a person anymore.
Not a person, period, ever in any world.
A fictional character. It is.
No.
It's not Jackie Chan.
It was karate.
Oh, that's what I wrote down. Thanks.